In this video I'm going to look at Deadzone 3rd edition, The Fall of Omega 7, a 2-player starter set from Mantic Games.
Hi, welcome to Games Web. My name's Mark. In this video I'm going to take a look at the Deadzone 3 2-player starter set, Fall of Omega 7. It's been a good while since I've done a Deadzone video, basically because of ill health. I've not really had the chance to do one, but I've got a lot of stuff planned for the next few videos, such as build guides and painting guides and stuff like that. Okay, so let's begin. This was a birthday present of my daughter Katie, so thank you very much, Katriana. It's very much appreciated. As I said, this is the 3rd edition of Deadzone. There are 2 different variants, one that comes with VII and Forge Fathers, and this one that comes with the Asterians, and I can't remember the other one. I think it's not the Plague, Maison Labs, I think it is. It's really, really heavy. Okay, so yeah, it's Plague actually. Right, okay, so I've got my camera in a new configuration, so I'm trying to get everything just right. Okay, so this is what we get. We get a battlefield complete with plastic buildings and scatter terrain. You get 8d8. Is it 8? Yeah, 8d8. 6 command dice, which are the black ones. They're special and unique to the game. You get 13 Asterians and 17 Plague. You get loads and loads of counters. You get the Deadzone rules, and you get the force list, which gives you the force list for every army. So you don't need to go out and buy codexes or army lists or army books or anything like that, which is brilliant. And then included in the game as well is the special commando for the Plague and the Samurai Lizardmon for the Asterians, which I'm going to be doing a video on those because I'm getting a full set of these. Okay, so let's jump in. Now, Deadzone is not a new game. It's been out for over 12 years, and it's being used as the basis for the upcoming Halo Flashpoint from Mantic, which I'm very excited about, and I can't wait to be playing that very shortly. Okay, let's see, where do we open? That's the hard part, because trying to find where the entrance is. There we go. Right, so Mantic Games tend to do a lot of no frills with their packaging, which is really good, because a lot of companies, you open the box and there's loads and loads and loads of extra bags and stuff and crap in it, and you don't really need that. You just want to get to the toys, and that's what we're going to do here, if I can get it out of the box. Okay, so I'll put the lid aside for a moment, and as you can see, this is a very weighty box, and let's have a look what we get in. Right, I'm going to go in depth on the rules in a later video, but I'll skim through them, and I'll also do a quick how to get started in play. So this is like my 3rd video getting started in Deadzone. I'll link the other 2, which are my VMN, in the pin up here somewhere. Up here, I don't know where. Okay, so let's have a look what we get. Right, so straight off the bat, you can see that we get, I'm going to turn this around because the light is shining onto the back of the box. We get a big bunch of tokens. There's quite a lot, so you got, you know, victory points and damage tokens and objective markers, and then there's activation tokens, under fire, more victory points, extra ammunition, lots and lots of tokens, because tokens are quite important in the game. And as you can probably tell, there is a lot of plastic in here. So we get our bags of buildings. In fact, it's probably easier if I just take it over here and we can see, and put the box over to one side like that. So we get bags of buildings, which go to form the battlefield. And there's quite a lot of those. They're still coming. The connectors for the buildings. Let me have a look. There's another 2. Right, so these are all the terrain. that you get, which is a lot, a heck of a lot. Okay, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags of terrain to build your battlefield up with, and 2 bags of connectors which connect the buildings together. They're quite easy. I'm going to show you how to do one very briefly, but they're quite easy to do. Then we get our command dice. We get 2, 4, 6, 8 command dice, so 4 for each player, and they're quite unique. I'm going to go through those as well. We get that much stuff I can't get into it. We get 3 lots of 10 bases for your models, 8d8, white d8, 2 bags, 1 bag there and 1 bag there, of scenic scatter and battlefield accessories that you can put onto your buildings, including street signs and stuff like that, and neon signs for buildings. And then we get down to our models, which I'm going to open all the bags and we can have a quick look at them. Well, the miniature bags anyway. So there's the first bag of the Asterians, and then there's a second bag of the Asterians, which is the same, I think, isn't it? Let me have a look. No, that's not Asterians, that's Plague. And both bags come with the legs separately. Is that Asterians? Yes, it is. That's Asterians and the Plague. Then there's another bag here of what looks like Plague. Yeah, plus Plague zombies. And another bag of Plague zombies. So that's 2 bags of Plague zombies. And then another bag of the Asterians. So that's 2 bags of Asterians and 3 bags of Plague, which is quite a lot. And then we get our zombie commander in resin, and we get our samurai lizard man in resin as well, who is very well wrapped up and bubble wrapped. And of course these are multi-part. I'm probably going to assemble these in a video, I think, especially these guys, because I'm getting a full squad of them. Okay, so we've got this guy here as his arms and his weapon, and brilliant detail, really nice, crisp, very little flash on it. Like the look of these guys, and apparently they're very lethal in combat. Okay, right. So that's a quick look, I mean a really quick look at the plastic and resin contents of the game. So I'm going to put those back into the box, and we'll have a look at the rules and the other things that come with the game. Okay, right, so we also get this battle map, which is just a paper map that is double-sided. One side, it's that big I can't actually fit it all onto my camera. One side gives you all the stats for your units and your characters, and the other side is the actual battle map itself of the game. The game works on a cube system, so all movement is done on cubes, all firing is done on cubes. But cubes don't just go in one direction, or left, right, backwards and forwards. They don't go like that. They also go vertically as well. So the verticality of the game is one of the key components. And this is a handy-dandy cheat sheet that you can use for playing your first few games until you get used to the rules. There's also a quick guide which we're going to look at in a moment. And on the back of this, if I can turn it over, because this is quite a big map, on the back of it is the actual map itself, and that's all laid out with all its finery and gubbins. But we'll get back to that in a moment, and we'll crack on. Folding it is the opposite thing though. It's quite painful. Okay, so we have 3 books. We have Getting Started with Deadzone, which is our first book. And if you just bear in 1 second, I'm just going to reposition the camera, then we can get a proper look at the books. Okay, right, sorry about that. I had a problem trying to get my tripod to actually stand still. Okay, right, so we get 3 books. We get the Getting Started Guide, which is only a pamphlet. We get the rule book, Skirmishes for the Second Worlds, and we got the Force List. So we'll have a quick look at each one in turn, and I'm going to be doing a full review of the game anyway, but I'll just give you my thoughts as I go along. So Getting Started, quick guide for brand new players to Deadzone and how they can get into the game, and your first game really. So assembling your models now, as you notice with the Sora, the Otai Sora from the box, it's made of resin, so that needs to be assembled slightly differently from the other things because you need a super glue on that, and also you need to clean the parts off on that one. The rest of the models, apart from the Plague Captain, are all plastic, so they can be used with regular polystyrene cement. But I would suggest using super glue because the plastic they're made from takes better to super glue than it does polystyrene cement, in my own opinion anyway. Okay, so we have the Otasora. He is a nasty lizard man. He's also a special character. We also have the Asterion marionettes. Now, the Asterions don't actually go on the battlefield themselves very often. They prefer to use robotic puppets marionettes that they send down, drones, and they do the bidding for them because the Asterions are a bit above doing all that stuff. The good thing is we've got an expanded view, which gives you a breakdown of all the different things. So we've got a Velociter, a grenade launcher, sniper rifle, no rifle, and marionette prime parts. So the prime parts are all in grey, and the weapons are all numbered and coloured in purple or green, some of the other parts. Okay, then we have got the rest of the Asterion force, how to assemble your drones, and because the Asterions are more or less all the same. Then the Plague Zombies, your Plague General, Plague Hounds, and Plague Ghouls. They're quite the big guys, and all the all the weapons and the other bits and pieces on them that they. Right, as I was trying to say before, I was so rudely interrupted by a spam call. All the various parts of the models are all exploded, showing you which piece goes with which and which weapon is which. So when you build your forces, either using the rule books or using the Mantic app, which is really, really good, it gives you a good basis of knowing what's what and what's harmed with what. Then you've got your terrain. Your terrain's all plastic. It's very, very simple. You get the little clips, which I showed you, the little nubbins. If I can find where I put them. There's that many bags and stuff here. I'm going to be going at this for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is great. There we go. Right, so we have these little clips here, and the clips they come in 2 flavours. We've got a 90-degree one and we've got a flat one. The flat ones just join 2 things together. So if you want, let's have a look on here. What can we see? So we say we wanted to join this wall onto this wall, but we wanted it so it's flat on. We just use the flat clip. If we wanted to do it so it's at an angle, we use the 90-degree clips, and you just put 2 clips on the sides you want to join. There's not very many clips in the bags, but there are 2 bags, and you can buy these from Mantic as well. So if you want to build cubed shaped buildings, you can do, but you're going to lose a lot of your clips because you'll be using 4 on each side. Sorry, 2, 4, 6, 8 on each side, so that's quite a lot to build 1 cube. Okay, and they go together quite easily, and then you also get your battlefield terrain. And then here we've got our first game. It tells you what figures to take. So your first game, this is what they recommend. You take a marionette with a no rifle, a marionette with a Velocigator, and a support drone with twin no rifles. And then you take a stage A 3A ghoul with a rifle, a plague hound, and a plague zombie. So that's all you take, just 6 figures and no more. And it shows you where to set them up, and you put your terrain on the table, and it tells you what they're worth. So your first game is going to be very, very quick, and it should take you through the rules quite easily. Okay, moving on to our next part, which is the rule books. So we'll look at the rule book first. Quite weighty books. The rule book isn't as thick as the Forces list book, but they're quite weighty books. And they're in full colour throughout, which is great. Fully illustrated. So we have what you'll need, the rules, additional rules, keywords, items, playing the game, scenarios, which there are a lot of, backgrounds and campaign in the rulebook. And this is the brief introduction to the galactic sphere of prosperity, which is the setting for the universe. Basically, mankind has expanded into the universe and is very, very much a threat to the rest of the galaxy. And there are various factions that are not happy about this, and there's a lot of corporate backstabbing going on as well between different rival corporations. So welcome to Deadzone. Set on the fringes of the civilized space, Deadzone is a game of futuristic battles fought among the ruins of human colonies against a variety of aliens. So a Deadzone is a planet that has been declared off limits normally in the background of the rules. Okay, so it tells you what you need. You need the models. The bases are on the sizes of the base. So typically you have 3 sizes of bases. You've got 25mm, 40mm and 60mm. Those are the 3 sizes of bases that you'll be needing. And here we have a Forge Father and an Enforcer. The Forge Father's on a 25mm base. The Enforcer, I think, is on a 40mm base. He's probably on a much bigger base because he's a bigger figure. Tells you the dice you need. You need your D8s and your command dice. And then we have our, going over to our basic things, we have our model stats. So all units in the game have stats. They're all following on the same line. So we have SP, which is speed. We have RA, which is ranged. So that's ranged combat. We've got FI, which is fight. We've got SV, which is survive. We've got AR, which is your armor. HP, which is your health points for the character. It takes so many hits and it's dead. SZ, which is size, and then base, which is 25mm. We also have a cost for the actual troop types themselves, and then if you want to upgrade the weaponry, the weapons have various costs as well. So here we have an Assault Forcer, which is the one we just saw in this picture here. He's got a speed of 1-2, which means he can move on a normal move 1 square. But if he uses all his actions, he can move 2 squares. He's got a range of 5+, so he rolls the 8-sided dice, and anything under 5 is a hit. That's the other way around, isn't it? My brain's gone. Right, so this can be modified. It's used for throwing and shooting. My brain's gone. I will work that out in a minute. So we've got save of 4+. Yes, that's right. So we've got a range of 5+. So you roll 5. You roll your 8 dice. If you get 5, 6, or 7, or 8, you've hit. If you get an 8, you re-roll your dice and keep on re-rolling until you don't get any more 8s, or you get any misses. And you get an 8 train going, which is lots and lots and lots of hits and can do loads of damage. So he's pretty average, everything. Save is quite good. He's got a save of 4+. He's got an armor of 1, 2 hit points, so he can take 2 hits and then he's dead. He's got a jump pack, which means that he can move vertically without issue, I think. But that's a keyword, so we'll come back to keywords in a moment. And then these are the weapons that they can be harmed with. So Wisp Blade and Pistol for 14 points, Phase Claws for 17 points, thermal miles for 17 points, and fusion gun for 20 points. So as you can see here, you've got VPs, which is victory points. That's how many points this model is worth, depending on what it's armed with. Which, unlike other games, you get, say, kill team or 40k. It's the actual base cost of the model. With this, it's the cost of the weaponry and included. So you choose the model, what it's armed with, that's how much it costs. So if you have an assault enforcer with face claws, he gets the frenzy skill, frenzy 1. He's got an AP of 2, which means he is pretty apt at rolling dice and getting through your armor, and he costs 17 points because he's quite an expensive one. And then all the keywords of all described, so like frenzy, frag, explosive, jump pack, they're all explained further on. Okay, so we've got the stats for the weapons, dice tests, how to do a dice test. So how many dice you roll? Basically, you normally roll 3 dice. So everybody, regardless of what skill they've got, they roll 3 dice, and then you add dice modifiers or negative dice to them. So if you're if your opponent's in the open, you get +2 dice. If you're above an elevated position and your opponent's in the open, you're going to get +3 dice. If you're aimed or you've got a sniper scope, I think it is, you get +1 dice as well. So you can end up rolling quite a lot of dice, and also the command dice can affect how many dice you roll as well. Okay, so you got the exploding 8, which all tests in the game, fight, range, survive, etc. use an exploding 8. This means each dice rolled an 8, that roll, an automatic success, is achieved, and another bonus die can be rolled. You keep on doing this until you stop doing 8s. Okay, more great artwork, which looks like orcs against enforcers. I can't see. No, it's looks like Maison Labs, I think. There's quite a lot of different factions, and some of the figures play with other factions. So we've got the basic rules. So you've got friendly models, enemy models, and neutral models, and then we've got our. This is the bit that most people find the hardest part to get on in the head when they first get the game. Once you understand it, it is really, really simple. So everything's done in cubes, but because a cube is a 3-dimensional object, it has a verticality to it. So if we've got a figure, say this VMN figure here is down here, and he has got a movement of 3. He can go 1, 2, 3, and he can get up without a problem at all. Now this one has only got a movement of 2, so he can only go up 2 cubes. So 1 into and then the second one will take him up to the top. You don't need to look for ladders or anything like that. These guys can find the ways up. A lot of people have abilities for jump packs and stuff like that, which allow them to climb up higher things, which we'll get onto in a little while. Then we've got our cube itself. So positioning with a cube, you can only position a number of models to a cube. So it can hold a maximum of 4 size points in a cube, which basically means you can't put all your models in one cube. You could put maybe 2 or 3 in one cube, but any more than 4 size points in it, kind of, you have to move models into another cube. So for this example here, you've got an enforcer and a plague corruption. They're both occupying the same cube. Even though this one's in 2 cubes, it's occupying the same cube. Right. Line of sight basically speaks for itself, but it doesn't go from tip of weapon, unlike in some games. It mainly, you can see the weapon, but that doesn't mean that you can actually shoot it. So model parts above the head aren't counted. Model parts that are outside of the base aren't counted. Model parts outside of the base width again aren't counted. So like the tip of this Asterian's thing at the top, that's not counted. That part of the base isn't counted, and the same with this VMN here. His hands aren't counted because they're outside of the base itself. So anything in the base is fair game. and anything that's above the head isn't fair game. So you get a line of sight on that, you can hit. If it's out in the open, as I say, you get +2 dice. So we've got an example of play. There's examples of play all the way through. The game normally takes 5 rounds, and each round goes very, very quickly. And it's I go, you go. But using the command dice, you can actually kind of cheat that, and you can activate multiple characters if you use the command dice, and some of the characters have special abilities that allows them to activate another character or another model at the same time. So we've got the command dice. You roll your command dice at the beginning of the game. If you've got tactician as a keyword in your strike team, you're going to get extra command dice for tactician. So if you've got tactician 2, you'll get 2 extra command dice. Tactician 1, you get 1 extra command dice. You can re-roll all of your command dice if you don't like the results you get. When you get them, that's when you need to stay, where you can't re-roll them again. And then once you've done all that, it's all set down. And speaking of command dice, we'll go onto our command dice and what they do. So we've got, obviously there's 6 sides on a dice, so we've got all the 6 sides of the die are represented. So we've got +1 model, which basically means when you activate, a second active model that hasn't been activated can activate. A dice symbol gives you an extra die when you're doing any ranged, fight or survive tests. Advance allows you to move 1 square for free. Shoot allows you to basically do what it says, shoot. And assault allows you to take a free assault action. Now, you can't assault someone unless you're in the same square as them, but we'll get onto that when I do the full review. I'm just going to go briefly through because I'm realising how long this is taking. And then we've got special order. Special orders are things that a leader has, which is a special ability. Otherwise, unless stated, you can only spend 1 special order activation per turn. So if you think you're going to spend your special order activation and you roll 2 of them, re-roll 1 of the dice because you're only going to use 1 of them. Okay, so actions. So you have short and long actions. So a short action is an advance, which is moving your first number. Stand up is a short action, so you've been knocked down, you stand back up again. Shoot, short action. Special action, short, such as can be whatever it is. Assault is a long action because you need to move into a square with someone else, and a sprint is a long action which moves double. You have restrictions. You can face in any direction, as far as I'm aware. But if a model gets knocked down, it has to stand up at the start of its activation because that's his first action, because it needs to get up off the floor, unless it has a rule that says it can't be pinned. Okay, so those are all going into more detail. The effects on scenery on movement, moving up and down scenery. Once you get your head around using the cubes, it's quite simple. The first time I read through it, I was completely confused until I played it with someone and thought, oh my god, this is so easy. Because I was expecting it to be harder than it was. So we go on rules about assault, special actions, damaging models and death, additional rules for like falling, pinned, scattering, slammed into walls, you can take damage from that. Using partial cubes, so you can get across a partial cube with a gap in the floor, but you may fall through it. If it's less than half the width of the cube, you can advance across it. So we're at keywords, so we've got all our keywords here. So like early deployment, they use jetpacks, or they land using drop ships or drop pods or whatever. Bike speaks for itself. It could be a hover bike, it could be a fast moving bike. Blast, boom, AP, agile, auxiliary weapon, and there's lots and lots and lots of keywords. It goes on for a good few pages, and all of them, I think it's about 10-15 pages, all of them are vital to the game. This explains your tokens. So you've got ammo, adrenaline, AP, intel, booby trap, frag grenade, combat blades, medipack, shot baton, smoke grenade, stimulants, and stun grenade. All these things here are normally placed face down on the battlefield, because you have a set number of objectives in items in a game, how many you put down, depending on the scenario, and when you enter that square, you automatically get that item. Now, one of these could be a booby trap, which you don't know about, so you could turn it over and it's a booby trap, and your character then will take dice from as if they were hit by a grenade. So absolutely gorgeous miniatures. This Spectre is a beautiful looking model, and it's really, really big as well. I'm just waiting on that coming. So how you play the game, very quick. You have a reconquest phase at the beginning of the game where you can pick up one token and replace it, one token icon and face it place down. You can look up to 3 tokens, or you can choose a token and discard it without looking. So that is all on a D8 roll. As I say, all the game mechanics are on a D8 or the specialised D6. Then scenarios, which are quite a lot of them. So patrol, scour, breakthrough, uplink, scatter, divide and conquer, invade, occupy, deep strike, pandemonium, and then it goes on to scenario 15. So 15 different scenarios in the core rulebook, which each scenario roughly lasts for about, I'd say about 35 to 45 minutes. That's a lot of playability out of, one rulebook. And there are hundreds of these on the Mantic site and on the app. And there's loads of fan groups and things on Facebook that have got scenarios. So it's well worth checking out. And then how victory points are gained. Lovely cover of the, I think it's the previous. Well, so I think that might be the other 3rd edition rule cover. So with the VII and the Enforcer, not the Enforcers, the GCPS. Then we've got the background. So this tells you all about the background for the Galactic Sphere and how things going on. It also tells you about the plague, which is why a lot of planets become dead zones. It's all very well written. The background's quite good. And then we've got a look at our various things going on, like Maison Labs. They're quite a new faction. They're the guys who they're made up out of remnant scientists from lots of different areas. So they might be from the GCPS, and then they have lots and lots of cruel experiments that they carry out on people, what have you. The map, which as you can see isn't as big as say 40k, but it's still quite a relatively big map. This book's quite heavy. And then you've got the campaigns, so how you play your campaign, which is slightly different from playing your regular game. Hiring mercenaries for your game, what happens after your game, and then how you spend your experience, and all that kind of good stuff, and all the events that happen after your game, your campaign. And then we have a campaign roster at the back of the book. Right, so that is the rule book. And I realise that this is getting a long video again, so please bear with me. I'm going to very quickly look through the force list. I'm just going to quickly talk about each of the forces. So in 40k, you've got lots of different forces, and they all vie for whatever they want. So Tyrannid's hunger for devouring planets, the Space Marines and the Imperium of Man do the bidding of the Emperor, and don't suffer heretics to live, or aliens, or whatever. And then we have the other races like the Eldari, or the Eldar, as I prefer to call them, because that's what they were, and things like that. They make up the big bulk of the universe. Very much the same in Deadzone. You've got lots of different races. I think there's 8 factions to play from the off, and there's another 3 sub-factions, as far as I can remember. Okay, so we'll have a look at them. So we've got a content, so how to build your strike team. The good thing about this is you only use about 10 models, maybe slightly more. You don't use full armies, so you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds or dollars on building up a force. It's quite cheap to play, and the models are relatively inexpensive as well. So you build your strike teams, choose the units that you want, and then we've got our backgrounds here. So we've got the Asterians, the Enforcers, the Forge Fathers, the GCPS, Marauders, Maison Labs, Nameless, Plague Rebs, and VII. So I've currently got forces for VII, Forge Fathers, and I'm going to be building up Maison Labs and Asterians, because they're the two that I'm going to concentrate on, because these are the two that come in this game. Okay, because most of the the Forge Fathers, where am I? Not Forge Fathers, I'm wobbling on. The Maison Labs, a lot of the stuff can be taken from Plague, and it can also be taken from GCPS as well, or Enforcers. Right, okay, so tells you how to build your force list up, and then we have all these lovely pictures of the models all painted. And you can only have one leader. You've got no limit on how many troops you can have. For every troop you have, you get a specialist. For every support you have, you can for every 3 troops you have, you can get a support. You can only choose one living legend, which is like a special character, and you're limited by the type and points of equipment that you choose for anything. So you could choose, if you're playing a game, a typical game is 200 points. If you're playing a 200-point game and you find yourself that your points left over, you can choose dice rerolls, or you could choose equipment such as ammo or medipacks or smoke grenades, and you then equip them to whichever model. They don't go to the unit, they go to the model individually, and we go from there. So you can have, say, a VII runner with extra ammo or armor piercing ammo, and you just put the token on the base, and then you know that when you go to use that for the first time, you just take that token off. Okay. So the Asterians, they're basically the elves of the universe. They're a very old race, and they are scientifically and technologically advanced as well. And they're one of the largest territories in the galaxy. They're probably larger than the humans. So we'll have a quick look at the models and stuff. So we've got all our force lists with what you can take for the Asterians. All these things are on the app as well. And go through all the Asterians, if I can just... as a typical example here, we've got Otosora, which is the special character that comes in the box. He's quite slow. He's got a move of 1 and 2 because he's a dinosaur. He's got a range of 4+. He's got a fight of 6+. He's got a save of 4+. His armor is 2+. He's got 3 hit points. He's got size 2, and he's on a 25mm base. I thought he was on a bigger base than a 25mm. He's a living legend, so you can only take one of him. And he's got the weapon is an iron cannon, which is range 6, AP 1, weight of fire 1, which means you can re-roll 1 die, which is a miss. 3 victory points, and it costs 30 points. So I can't remember what the name of the actual characters are. So quick look at the models here. Mastodon, they are. Is it Mastodon? Matsudan. So the Matsudan are the lizard creatures, and I've just got those coming along with one of the this Astarian as well. I'm really looking forward to those, because those are a birthday present of my wife. Okay, so showcase of all the models, and this is where companies like Games Workshop kind of fall to the side when it comes to this. It tells you what every single weapon is. So when you look at, all you need to do is look at this at a glance and say, okay, so that's like a Folligaster or a sniper rifle. You know exactly what it is, staff of command. You know these automatically, so you can just say at a glance that's what it's got. Which, you know, other companies should do that. You've got the Enforcers. They're basically an elite members of the GCPS who are given the best weapons and equipment, and they go off and do naughty things in the name of the corporation. And all the stats for these guys, and of course they've got 11 legends as well. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 living legends. I think all the characters have 4 living legends. And then again we've got all the beautiful artwork with the different weapons and the support there. We've got a Strider, which is like a big dreadnought. Forge Fathers are dwarves. They are very, very tough and honourable, and they are quite hard to root out once they get stuck in to something. Let's have a look. They have access to lots and lots of heavy weaponry, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got 5 special characters, and then we look here. We've got all the various things like the what we call it, the Iron Ancestor, which is basically their version of a dreadnought, and they've got their version of Terminators, which I think probably mince a Terminator because they're quite tough. And then we've got things like this drill. So they tend to take a lot of mining equipment and then repurpose it for the purposes of battle. GCPS is the big corporation that the spheres of expansion are all set around. Spheres of prosperity, sorry, the spheres of expansion is the toe. And again, all the pages, all the information you need for all the things. And then we go to the showcase. We've got the weapons. Again, they've got a Strider. This is a tank buster with Polaris cannon. These can be taken by Enforcer. They can be taken by the GCPS. They can be taken by Maison Labs, and I think they can be taken by mercenaries as well. A lot of things tend to go that way. The Marauders are Space Orcs. They're not the Space Orcs from 40k. They are intelligent. They are tacticians. They know exactly what they're doing in a battle. They do lust for battle, but they're not stupid, dumb, jokey things. They are very, very tough. And they were originally sided with the GCPS and were treated like dirt and ended up rebelling against the GCPS in the end. And then we've got Maison Labs, which is the guys who do all the experiments on people and animals and captured things. Again, see they've got the Walker, Abomination, an Aberration, Subject 901. Neuro-linked cohort. I'm quite lucky because I've got some of these from Star Saga. So that figure and that figure I've got from Star Saga. So I can just use those in Maison Labs. Then the Nameless, these are like the demons of the game. They come from outside of our dimension. There's a lot of weird ass stuff going on there. Plague, these are zombie undead creatures that were unleashed during a plague on a planet, and it's now spreading throughout the galaxy. I've got that one and I've got that one, so I can use those with my Maison Labs as well. As you can see, there's a Strider again. Then we've got the Rebs. Basically, they're made up of lots of different races, mainly alien races, who will all come together and fight for a common cause, most likely against the GCPS, because the GCPS are not nice. And where are we? I've got some pictures of the Rebs at the back. So they're mainly aliens. There are a couple of humans among them, and again they get a Strider. You notice that the Forge Fathers didn't get a Strider; they got a Forge Iron Ancestor instead. It's the VII. Now, this is one of my favourite factions in all of science fiction gaming. I love the VII because they're rats and rats get everywhere, and it is only natural that rats would actually end up going to the stars if we went to the stars. So the VII are sentient rats. They're normally controlled by a broodmother or a packmaster. And broodmothers use psionic abilities to communicate with the rest of their guys, and they can send them into a frenzy and all sorts of strange stuff. So we've got the various stats and stuff for these. And then lastly at the back we have the pictures of all the VII. So we've got a brood mother. We don't have a picture of a packmaster. They do have things like the tunnel runners, and they also have a big tank. Every race has got a tank or a flyer of some description, and they are very, very good. The models are lovely, and there's a big enforcer at the back there, strider at the back. Okay, so that's a look through this lovely game. There's lots and lots of stuff, as you've seen, and I'm going to assemble some of the models, and I'll put them up at the end of the video in a slideshow, because this is 45 minutes long already. But we will be going through some games with Roland and Eric, hopefully very, very shortly, which will get up on Gamers Web and on Roland's. Roland does miniatures YouTube channel, and look out for more Mantic content coming soon. So as always, I've been Mark. Thank you for tuning in and sticking this long, and no matter where you are in the world, please stay safe, look after yourself, and we'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye.